Hey, welcome to Coffee with Brett. My name is Brett Harnett, and I'm the Director of Education at TeamGantt. I'm not only the Director of Education, I'm also a project manager, and I bring more than 20 years of experience in project management to the table. So I'm happy that you're here so I can share my experiences and advice with you. And if you're liking the series, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social so that you can get updates when we launch weekly new episodes and deliver a lot more content. So I'm going to make this episode pretty quick because I've got a meeting to get to, and then another one after that, and then another. My day is filled up, and before I know it, I'm at the end of my day, ready to wrap up, but I still have actual work to do. I'm sure that you get it and you've been there. And then, at the end of the day, you think, could those meetings have just been emails, or could we have just done that over chat? Honestly, it's amazing how many meetings could be accomplished over email or chat. So I've got some ideas to help you to determine that. Whether you're a PM or a team member, I think this is going to help you. So one of the things that I've observed with teams who kind of feel overburdened by meetings is that most of their meetings are simply just added to their calendars with zero context. No agenda, no preparation, nothing. It's like they show up to a meeting not even knowing why they're there or what they'll do there. So no wonder they hate meetings and they feel bad about going to them. If you want to avoid that overall feeling of meeting hatred, there's one simple thing I think that you should do. Write a meeting agenda for every meeting, not some meetings, for all meetings. Write an agenda. So here's the thing. You should be taking the time to work through what you need to get out of a meeting before you even schedule it. Heck, if you're doing that, you'll figure out if you even need a meeting. I'll have to cover that in an upcoming episode. In the meantime, I want to talk about how you can take the time to work through an agenda and actually prepare your meeting attendees so they're not only there and understanding the purpose of the meeting, but they come to the table feeling like they have a valuable role and a reason to contribute. To me, that's a critical step in making sure that your meetings are going to be successful. So maybe we should jump in. But before that, I'm thinking you might be sitting there thinking, yeah, meeting agenda is simple, whatever, move on, don't need to watch this. So let me share a personal story to give you some context on why I think they're important and how you and your colleagues can use them as a productivity tool. So I was in a situation in a job where I was managing a team of project managers. I had a couple of small projects on my own, and then I had other kind of just management duties. And, I have to say, in that role, I was flooded with meetings. So many meetings would come to me with just a title and a location, but no real detail. And it was so frustrating to me because I truly had to make judgments about what I could and could not do based on the amount of time I had in my day, which was mainly spent in meetings anyway. It was so draining. So you know what I did? I made a rule. If a meeting organizer did not take the time to write a meeting agenda, I would decline that meeting. I figured, if I didn't know what a meeting was about or what it was for, then why attend? And I truly believe that meeting attendees deserve to know that, and that they should have the space and the time to prepare for the meeting. And honestly, anytime someone really needed me in that situation, they'd just follow up and they'd ask why I declined. And my first response was, well, you didn't share an agenda for the meeting, so I don't know what it's for. And they'd explain it, and I'd ask them to include it in the meeting invitation. So that was kind of my first step in correcting that bad behavior. And eventually it did catch on in that company. So maybe that's something you could do too. But interestingly, what I found with that little experiment was that some people had no idea how to even write a useful agenda, or they didn't see the use because team members or managers or executives would show up to their meetings and hijack them and just do what they needed or what they wanted at the time in the meeting. And that wasn't helpful because it made people think agendas weren't even needed or useful. So it was this kind of vicious cycle that just needed to be corrected with one single tool, the agenda. So I broke it down for people, and that's what I'm going to share here because I think it's good to be flexible about your meetings and your agendas, but you do have to be clear about a few things to make sure that you set the right expectations about the business that's going to be done in your meeting. So here are just a few things you need to be clear about when you're writing your meeting agendas. First, focus on your meeting goals or the discussions you'll need to facilitate in order to hit your meeting goals. Then, think about the information that people need in order to help you meet that goal. Do they have the right information, or do you need to share it first and give them some time to digest it so that you can have a productive conversation? Knowing that, you should think about what people need to be involved to ensure that the goal is met and that there won't be any lingering decisions or conversations after you meet. You do want the business done in the meeting. You always need the right people in the room though. If you don't get that right, the meeting's probably a waste of time. Lastly, think of your limitations, meaning how can you get this work done in the least amount of time so you can feel comfortable about the validity and the quality of your discussions or decision making? And this applies not only to the time that you have in your meeting, but also in the time your meeting attendees have to prepare. So once you've kind of thought through those things, you can get to writing your agenda. And listen, this isn't something that should take you more than 5 to 10 minutes maximum. But it's important if you want the meeting to run well and you want your attendees to come prepared. And honestly, to see that you're a good project manager or meeting leader and you're on top of the details. Okay, so on screen now is an example of what I see as being a thorough and helpful agenda. This took me about 5 minutes to write, so it's not very time consuming. And as you can see, it includes the project name, the date, the time, the location, attendees, your meeting goal to make sure everyone is aligned, and then a detailed outline of topics or discussions with times and people responsible for those points. You can see that I've noted those people in parentheses. And finally, but really important, there's a note about what your attendees need to do in order to be prepared for the meeting. Again, super straightforward, I know that, but having a simple, easy to read format can be so helpful in communicating your expectations for the meeting. So use this as a template and extend it to your meetings and to your teams, and hopefully it'll work for you. It's really that simple, but before I wrap this up, I want to talk for a second about being collaborative when organizing meetings. And I recognize that this doesn't apply to all meetings, but a problem with some meetings is that they feel like one person has a specific agenda that they feel is more important than everyone else's points or ideas. So if you're scheduling a meeting, be sure to take others' opinions, ideas, and requests into account. As with any other project document, it's a good idea to present a draft of your agenda and to ask for input or feedback. Of course, again, this doesn't apply to every meeting. It's not going to happen with every meeting. But when you're planning larger, longer, or even more important meetings, run your agenda by other team members or leads. This will make sure that you're not being seen as controlling or rigid. And you don't want people coming into your meeting thinking that they have no room to bring up ideas or points that they think are relevant or will help you and your project long term. I also want to mention here that TeamGantt serves as a really solid platform for collaborating those details. It's not just about tasks and resourcing and time tracking and other work, but really for meetings too. I've definitely been known to use discussions in TeamGantt to drop a draft meeting agenda in and get my team's input. So if you're using TeamGantt, give it a shot. Or just use your chat or email or whatever works for you. Just make sure you're communicating about your agenda. All right, I have to refill my coffee and get to my next meeting. If you're looking for more resources, check out the Team or the Learn tab on TeamGantt.com. Or hey, pick up my book, Project Management for Humans. It covers this topic and so many others. So I promise you it's going to help you to manage your projects, whether you're new to this or you've been around the block a few times. All right, I better get going. Cheers. Hey!